So your neighbor's tree just fell on your house or your car, and you think that their policy or they are responsible for paying that damage to you. And that's wrong. At least here in Illinois, if your neighbor's tree falls on your home, or home insurance is what's going to come out and actually cover those damages. Same thing with your car. Also, if your tree falls on your neighbor's house, it's their insurance that's going to cover it. So there's a couple things that we see on a pretty regular basis just across the board. And the first one we actually just kind of look at is kind of that Arboist Defense. A traditional stance here is just ignore it. If your tree needs some update or some repair and you just ignore it, or your neighbor does the same thing and it ultimately falls on your house, unless there's some sort of documented proof that that tree was in fact dead, rotting, or at danger of falling, it's the person whose home was damaged that's going to be again, they're going to be the ones responsible for taking care of that damage. So what this does is it actually creates a lot of tension. If my neighbor's tree falls on my house and they didn't take care of it the way that they were supposed to, I'm going to pay my deductible, whether that's $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, whatever that is. That's going to create tension between me and my neighbor, because I promise you that we have probably said something to it. One of the things that you can do, if this is you and you're that neighbor or you're the one with the trees, have an arborist come out on a regular basis, whether it's annual, biannual, once every 18 months. Have them come out and inspect the trees. Is something good to go here? Because when your neighbor takes you to court because they believe the tree was damaged, you have an arborist stance or an arborist document stating that your tree was in great shape. There was nothing that could have been done to make sure that that was any better. When you do this, make sure that you have certified information from that arborist. And that actually leads into that next piece. If you can provide photos, if your neighbor's tree is in rough shape and you believe it's going to fall at any moment and damage your property, and it's not crossing your property line, so, and I'll get to that in a minute, what you can do is create time-stamped photographs and mail a certified letter to your neighbor talking about the damages that you believe can happen. And if something happens, you at least have some proof that you took the time and made the statements and your neighbor was aware. The reason I say that the tree can't cross the property line is because you actually have the ability to go through and trim a tree that crosses into your property line. This is what's called self-help, right? You can go and trim a tree or a bush or whatever the case is that is from maybe your neighbor's tree, but it crosses into your property line. You believe that it's going to cause damage or cause any sort of turmoil in your life. You have the legal right to go and trim it. Now, have a conversation with your neighbor. Don't just jump out there with a chainsaw or a pair of loppers and start getting to work. Have that conversation. Be a good neighbor, right? One thing to say here is if a tree falls, it's your tree, and it maybe falls between the two homes and there's no damage to anyone. It just lands on the grass or open field. There is an exclusion in your policy, or not necessarily an exclusion. There is just no coverage for that tree to be removed from your property on most home insurance policies. You're most likely going to be on your own. If you have a different policy or an endorsement, they can actually create that tree removal, have that tree removal endorsement. So definitely check your policy or check in with your agent on that one. So how to prevent or avoid this? Number one is make sure that you're having those conversations with neighbors. Make sure you're documenting those pieces. Talk to an arborist if you feel like anything's going on. There are obviously scenarios or situations where lightning or storms are going to happen and you have no idea that this ever could have been a potential or a possibility. The last thing I'll say here on this is if you have a vehicle and there is a tree in the yard, on the front of the house, in the front yard, hanging over the street, whatever the case is, if you have a vehicle that you park out there and they're in danger, that vehicle is in danger of being damaged by any sort of tree branch falling on it, your home insurance will not cover it, neither will your neighbors. There is an exclusion on personal autos on your home insurance. So if that tree falls and it lands on your front porch and your old Honda Accord, your homeowners will cover the front porch. It will offer no coverage for that vehicle in the front yard. What you need to do there is make sure that you have comprehensive coverage. That is the act of God force of nature. Tree branch, hail, glass breakage, deers, animals, anything like that running through the road. That's what comprehensive coverage does. That's what it's for. If you've made it this far in the video, my name is Patrick McBride. I own the McBride Agency. We serve Northern Illinois with multiple locations, helping you find the most modern insurance experience possible without ever compromising on personal connection. If something I said today resonates with you, or if you've never had these conversations with your agent, feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email, or just drop a message below. We'd be happy to help.